Well, it's the fourth day of Tuesday, April 2023. Good evening and welcome to KBC Prime Edition. My name is Mboya. Let's start this live broadcast off with a summary of our top stories.
You asked me a direct question whether there will be a handshake because of this situation. I want to tell you there will be no handshake.
And I just want to say that that was not the basis of the understanding between the parties that were negotiating or talking between us.
A crash at takeoff. President Ruto rules out possible handshake as Azimio leader rejects government-proposed parliament-led talks. Another school, same reason, same county. Butere Boys High School shut just a day after Mukumu Girls was closed over students' ailment.
We have no intentions of injuring any of you. You are fellow Kenyans.
Police boss Japhet Kome apologizes to the media over attacks during Azimio demos. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Our sign language interpreter is Brian Muraru. Our socials at KBC Channel 1 and my Twitter handle at Mboya24. Straight to our top story. President William Ruto has ruled out any possibility of a handshake with opposition leader Raila Amolo Odinga. Speaking in Kigali, Rwanda, the head of state, however, said that all the grievances raised by the opposition will be handled through parliament. He noted that there is need to have a strong opposition in the country for the sake of accountability. But speaking after holding Azimio Coalition Party parliamentary group meeting in Karen, opposition leader Raila Odinga said the parliament route was not acceptable. He reiterated that Azimio was not pushing for any handshake at all. Let's open this coverage with that report.
There will be no handshake, but there will be an engagement in Parliament on the issues that have been raised. Those that Parliament can resolve, they will be resolved. And when I say there will be no handshake, I know that there is a context, like we were being told here, please have a handshake. Unfortunately, a handshake has a different connotation. And that is the one that I am talking about.
I want to make it very clear. We have never talked about a handshake. That is a language coming from the other side. They're the ones who have been saying, oh, these people, unataka tu handshake, nusu mukati, and so on. And that's why in our own statement, reiterated firmly what was going to be the basis of our engagement with Kenya Kwanza.
Thank you very much. Kenya and Rwanda have signed an agreement in 10 areas of cooperation to enhance bilateral relations. President William Ruto and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame said that the two countries had agreed to work together for the benefit of its people. They said Kenya and Rwanda will expand trade and investment as well as help the region in terms of peace as well as security.
Mr. President, let me again, on my behalf and my behalf of my delegation, again affirm the cordial relations between our two countries and our shared desire to deepen and expand the bonds of friendship and unity between our two nations.
These new areas of cooperation will bring us even closer together. We are very happy that Rwanda is home to a large and vibrant Kenyan community.
Butere Boys High School in Kakamega County has been closed following an outbreak of an unknown disease among the students. According to sources, more than 100 students complained of headaches and severe stomach aches. A number of the affected students are admitted to the Butere Sub-County Hospital and also private health facilities. Kakamega County Governor Ferdinand Baraza, who visited the school, confirmed the incident.
Now, from the medical report that I've received, the samples were taken. The boys were tested for typhoid, it was negative. They were tested for cholera, it was negative. And that is why we now want to get further investigation, which we have sent the samples to Kemri, because it is important for us to get the root cause. Otherwise, cholera and typhoid has been ruled out. But for water and the food test is important for us to get the nitty-gritty, and that's why the samples have been taken to Kemri, and we expect the results to come out in a few days.
The Inspector General of Police, Japhet Koome, has apologized to the media over attacks during the Azimio la Umoja countrywide demonstrations. Koome clarified that the police did not intend to harm journalists during the protests.
Speaking at the Kenya School of Government, the Inspector General of Police said that the police did not intend to harm journalists in any way.
We could have injuries, so it's not deliberate. We have no intentions of injuring any of you. We are fellow Kenyans. I don't derive any pressure. I don't derive any happiness out of injuring any fellow Kenyans.
Koome issued an apology to journalists who were severely injured during the clash between protesters and police officers in the recent countrywide anti-government demonstrations by the opposition. According to data by the Media Council of Kenya, at least 20 journalists were injured and some robbed of their broadcasting equipment while covering the protests. The Inspector General of Police also joined Kenyans in welcoming the President's move in giving room for dialogue on the contentious issues.
I thank the politicians. They pronounced themselves. They called off the demonstrations. They are talking. And that way, as the police service, we can now spend more time in crime prevention other than managing ground situation. Therefore, we are now actively engaged in normal crime prevention.
Arnold Feather for Prime Edition.
Vulnerable groups such as the elderly will now be paid their stipends ahead of the civil servants' monthly pay. President William Ruto said that the move will cushion and enhance their sense of belonging in society. He made those remarks Tuesday during the official opening of the Kenya Social Protection Conference at the Kenya School of Government in Lower Kabete.
Under the new scheme, the government has allocated 28 billion shillings to support cash transfer programs. The president noted that these will also support their economic empowerment to enhance resilience.
These are the foremost considerations in promoting and advocating for an integrated social protection system that can achieve increased coverage throughout the effective coordination of diverse actors in order to focus our full capacity on the people.
The president told the meeting that social protection is as urgent as is the country's economic development.
We must empower the people to effectively actualize their potential by taking full advantage of economic opportunities and to have capacity to optimally benefit from development.
Council of Governors Chairperson Anne Waiguru said there is increasing momentum toward the expansion of social protection in Kenya, in line with the Sustainable Development Goals.
One of the main primary challenges is the lack of coordination in the implementation of such programs, both horizontally and vertically.
Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore said her ministry will endeavour to achieve efficiency in the provision of social protection services to the 20 million people who are in dire need of the Social Protection Fund.
In the words of the former U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt, we are constructing a more inclusive society.
The move by the government to actualize the Social Protection Fund as mandated in the Vision 2030 is a step in the right direction, with the head of state calling on Kenyans to inculcate the culture of saving, saying this will go a long way in ensuring that they eliminate the old age poverty that is currently witnessed in Kenya. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
African countries have been challenged to prosecute multinational companies that pollute the environment. Delegates at the Symposium for Chief Justices said that it is critical for African governments to set up courts to deal with environment issues. Kenya was singled out as being ahead of its peers for establishing a division on the Environment and Lands Court.
On the second day of the third symposium on greening judiciaries, chief justices and heads of delegates from across Africa pointed out challenges that hinder the effective enforcement of environmental laws.
It's just for us to encourage the investigating officers, to encourage NEMA, to be able to have people who degrade the environment arrested and be criminally prosecuted.
This, as the judges say, there was need for the government to enforce judgments with immediate effects to act as a deterrent.
So that going forward, we are going to make judgments and come up with the specific timelines within which those judgments should be complied with. We are going to sensitize Kenyans on the importance of filing environmental disputes, which will be heard within a span of 6 months.
In June 2023, Kenya is set to launch a special environmental division under the Environment and Lands Court. The ongoing 3-day Greening Judiciary Symposium is now calling for a multi-sectorial approach in putting in place legal frameworks that are going to ensure enforcement of laws that are going to act as a deterrent against environmental degradation. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Well, we're going to take our first break right here on Prime Edition. Don't go away. We'll be right back shortly. Stay with us.
Intertribal suspicions and fears are part of the hard facts of life in Kenya today. And any constitution which may be devised and which is to stand any chance of success must take these hard facts into account. The problem is to reconcile administrative efficiency, that's to say, strong central government, with effective safeguards against domination of one group of tribes.
What am I forgetting? Nini, workers paid, rent checked, mlango locked, visiting notice, goza mzazi nilitoa jana long, internet sorted. What is it? What am I forgetting? What?
Nini, nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Unaweza shinda hadi milioni 2 kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, weka neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa, kisha subiri draw. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
It is April. It is football made in Germany. Tuesday night, the 4th of April 2023, the DFB Pokal returns to the first quarterfinals in Germany. FC Bayern Munich takes on SC Freiburg in a heavyweight clash at 9:45 p.m.
Oh, what's the goalkeeper doing? And if there's one person you cannot give the ball to, it's the super sub.
Wednesday, the 5th of April 2023 will see the defending champions RB Leipzig clash with on-form Borussia Dortmund at 9:45 p.m.
Here comes Riemann to get the ball away from danger. It falls Emre Can's way on halfway. Emre Can! That is extraordinary. Absolutely stunning.
Catch these momentous times in football history live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle at Mboya24. Moving on, government and stakeholders in the education sector have been challenged to invest in gauging the education standards at different levels. The call came during the opening ceremony of a two-day conference, bringing together 6 African countries, during which it emerged that 70% of the 10-year-olds in sub-Saharan Africa cannot understand a simple written text.
The host nation of the 2023 Africa Evidence Forum for Fundamental Learning has dedicated more hours towards training of teachers in order to meet the expected international commitments that the government is a signatory of.
We encourage our teachers not to handle the learners as a class, but as an individual. And when we identify the slow learners who are not able to catch up with the others, they need to be given special attention.
The forum, which brings together education stakeholders from Sierra Leone, Ghana, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, is expected to bring evidence and policy recommendations to help tighten the loose ends in the education system.
This forum is going to connect us to discuss how we can accelerate progress, how we can ensure that in the coming years, at least 90% of our children are able to read and learn.
We need to now do something with urgency, because can you imagine going through school, 6 years, you're in grade 6, and there are some who are now in junior secondary, perhaps, who are not able to read. It means then you begin to fail, and the school system is failing you.
This year's conference is delivering stronger foundational learning for all children post-COVID-19. Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
Now, one person has been shot dead in Dol Dol town, Laikipia North, by suspected bandits. The bandits are also reported to have made away with 17 camels belonging to former Speaker Francis Ole Kaparo.
Residents say the bandits have carried out 6 raids in the area in the last week, taking with them hundreds of livestock.
Wizi pia ni kama vile inaambatana na mauaji. Hamna karibu siku hizi, hamna siku ama wiki ni kubwa, siku ambayo hawa jamaa hawajakuja wakapeperusha mifugo.
Sisi hatuna usalama sahi kabisa, sababu kama wiki moja sasa au wiki mbili, ng'ombe karibu kundi 4 imeenda, ingine bado iko mpaka Buamba police station.
Elsewhere, Mboya National Government Constituency Development Fund has embarked on a program to distribute desks to local junior secondary schools in the area.
We thought that it would be better to create a conducive environment so that we can improve the education standards of this sub-county of Mboya.
In Kisumu, the drive to clean up Lake Victoria has kicked off as various organizations partner to restore the water body's lost glory.
Lazima tufanyeni kazi pamoja tuhakikishe ya kwamba hii ziwa la Victoria itakuwa safi.
In Kakamega County, ward representatives held peaceful protest in Kakamega town, demanding increased security after the recent murder of Kisa East MCA, Stephen Maloba.
Tumetaka lazima uchunguzi ufanyike kwa haraka. Ametuambia kufikia siku ya Ijumaa atakuwa amemaliza, atuite hapa tupatie report.
In Turkana, Governor Jeremiah Lomurkai, together with a section of leaders, say they will partner with the police in a mop-up of illegal firearms in the region.
Mtu yoyote ambaye anaishi ndani ya Turkana na anaishi na silaha na anaishi kwa kuua watu, kuchoma watu, kuua watu kwa barabara, mimi nitasukuma watu mpaka waende.
Finally, the government has embarked on a mega water project valued at 2 billion shillings with the aim of easing water shortages in Malindi and Kilifi towns and their environs.
What we have done is possibly a 30% of what these people need. We will need more resources for Kilifi as we need for other counties.
The government is also undertaking a well protection project at the Baricho Waterworks to the tune of 450 million shillings to protect 11 boreholes against erosion and siltation. For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Well, Teresa Mutai's report brings us to a second break on Prime Edition. We're coming back with the day's business and also the day's sports a little later on. So stay with us.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
Ulipata safe house ya Sam. Niluka imechomeka. Is he dead?
Betu mwona hiyo? Kuna kitu hapo. Mwona hiyo baki jamaa yake ni bahati bana.
Imani hajakuwa kenda shule for 3 days sasa.
Nilipata ile lori ya juzi.
Tutatumia fake and break. 2 teams, stealth incursion, in and out in under 20 minutes.
Ukiharibu hii. Nyumbani.
Go, go, go!
Alete dambi mali.
Welcome to the day's business. I'm holding the fort for Wairimo Njenga. Tech companies have welcomed the move by government to abolish the digital service tax and the 30% local ownership rule. Amazon Web Services say that the move is expected to lead to increased investments in the sector, which has seen low investment since the law came into force in 2021. Robin Jiru, AWS lead for East, Central and West Africa, says that the move will cement Kenya's position as an ICT hub in Africa.
Amazon Web Services, which is one of the heavy hitters in the cloud computing business in the world, had raised concern with the Finance Act 2020 that introduced a 1.5 levy on digital services, saying the move was likely to stifle the growth of the sector at a time when Kenya was settling as a preferred choice for global ICT firms. However, despite much hue and cry, the law came into effect in 2021. Robin Jiru, AWS lead for East, Central and West Africa, says the firm will seek collaborations with various players in the digital space.
Now actively engaging with the government to get a better understanding of how this will be rolled out. Once we then have that understanding, it then puts us in a much better position to then see how does that then impact the industry and subsequently the economy.
This comes as the company announced a new deal with the ICT Authority to train and equip 10,000 students in public universities in Kenya with cloud computing skills and emerging technologies.
So that then as our tech/engineering students graduate, then they are already graduating with the skills in this area.
I think the future is digital. The future is jobs within the digital space.
We try as much as possible to match the expectations of the employers and the job market and what is coming out of the education.
There's a mismatch between the knowledge graduates possess and the labor market needs. Hence, the need to have qualified workforce that has the technical skills and knowledge to thrive in today's digital economy. Wairi Mujenga from Diani, Kwale County.
A multi-agency team has been established to fast-track distribution of the subsidized fertilizers to farmers this planting season. Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says that this part of the efforts by government to increase food production by increasing access and addressing the cost of farming inputs such as fertilizer, pesticides, seeds, and animal feeds is welcome. Here are the details of these and other stories in our briefs.
Chelugui says reliance on imported food is unacceptable when Kenya has the capacity to produce enough for local consumption and export. He says the government is putting in place relevant infrastructure and support systems to enhance food production. Chelugui says a multi-agency has been established to distribute the subsidized fertilizer in 21 counties.
Our desire as an administration is to invest in production, to empower stockists and distributors who are seated in this room, as opposed to empowering traders who are importing foodstuff.
Still on food security matters, Crops Principal Secretary Harsama Kelo says millers have been unable to find cheap maize at the international market to match the 4,200 shillings landing cost set by the government for a 90 kg bag of maize. He says talks are ongoing between millers and traders to increase the minimum landing cost of maize to enable Kenyan importers compete for the scarce maize in the international market.
Some of them have told us that price is too high. The dollar exchange rate is not favoring them. The maize availability is also a big problem because it is very scarce. So we are trying to negotiate and we have agreed with some of them.
And the adoption and uptake of warehousing receipt system has received a shot in the arm following the signing of a 3 billion shillings deal between the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry and the International Finance Corporation. The 3-year deal will support drafting of a regulatory framework and setting up a central registry.
Farmers, from now on, if this system is operationalized, will be able to use their receipts, their WRS receipts, even to pay their hospital bills.
Elsewhere, the film industry requires a fine-tuning of acting talent to provide the flexibility and diversity required to meet consumer demand. MultiChoice Kenya Managing Director Nancy Matimu says besides leveraging on the digital space, Kenya's creative industry should learn their audience needs for maximum monetization and commercialization.
Access content, watch whatever content that you want wherever you are at, honestly and authentically, and showcasing the side of Kenya and Africa that many people or international platforms do not have been able to showcase.
Finally, the government will train small-scale miners on artisanal mining in a bid to enhance regulation and help alleviate unemployment. Mining Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says the government intends to formalize artisanal mining through reforms that seeks to align the industry with the best global practices.
Ambao tunaunuia kutengeneza hapa mradi wa mambo ya mawe, tunataka kutafuta mwekezaji kuanzia wiki ijayo ili hii kiwanda ijengwe hapa kwenu.
Benson Droba reporting for Prime Edition.
Well, coming up, we'll look at the day sports. Daniel Wahome on standby.
Aviator Instant Game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
It is April. It is football made in Germany. Tuesday night, the 4th of April 2023, the DFB Pokal returns with the first quarterfinals in Germany. FC Bayern Munich takes on SC Freiburg in a heavyweight clash at 9:45 p.m.
Oh, what's the goalkeeper doing? And if there's one person you cannot give the ball to, it's the super sub.
Wednesday, the 5th of April 2023 will see the defending champions RB Leipzig clash with on-form Borussia Dortmund at 9:45 p.m.
Here comes Riemann to get the ball away from danger. It falls Emre Can's way on halfway. Emre Can! That is extraordinary. Absolutely stunning.
Catch these momentous times in football history live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bet.
Kurumisha ndege. Aviator Instant Game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport tonight. Now, we start with athletics, where Kenya will be targeting to select a formidable team for this year's Africa Under-18 and Under-20 Athletics Championships that will be hosted in Lusaka, Zambia. According to the Director of Youth Development, Barnaba Korir, only athletes who meet the age and qualification criteria will be selected during the national trials set for this Friday and Saturday at the Nyao National Stadium. Kenya will be defending the Under-18 overall title, which they won during the first edition, held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, as well as targeting the Under-20 overall title. The top 3 athletes will be selected for all field events in the Under-18 Championship, while 2 athletes per event will be selected for the Under-20 Championships. The second African Junior and Youth Athletics Championships will be held in Lusaka, Zambia, from the 29th of April to the 3rd of May this year.
That we gave out, we were very strict, especially school-going athletes, that they must come with a letter from the principal of the school they are going in to certify, if they don't have this passport, to certify the document they use to enter the school, be it primary or secondary school, so that we document and verify that the document that we are having is a genuine document. Any other document which does not accompany the letter from the principal to the school they are in, then it will be subject to reconsideration, because we don't want and we don't entertain anybody or any coach or a teacher that encourages athletes to cheat, to give wrong ages, and if that is found for anybody to have done that, the severe consequences will follow, because we will not allow anybody to lie about their age. We want athletes that are actually the right ages to compete with the others from other countries.
Now, Moisca's Nets Team A and Akam 1 were crowned the winners in the men's and women's categories of the Mombasa edition of the Red Bull Half-Court Basketball Tournament that was played at the Aga Khan grounds in Mombasa. Focus now shifts to the Kisumu edition of the tournament, slated for the 29th of April.
The tournament, organized by the Kenya Basketball Federation in partnership with Red Bull Kenya, was making a comeback for the 4th annual edition and saw teams fight for a qualifying spot to compete in the World Final that will be held in Belgrade, Serbia. In the men's semi-final fixtures, Moisture's Nets A beat Storms 18-10, while in the women's semi-final matches, Kaya Tiwi C punished Kaya Tiwi A 19-4 to book a final duel with Kaya Tiwi D, which had earlier beaten Akam 2 17-7. Akam 1 will be joined by Kaya Tiwi D, Kaya Tiwi A and Kaya Tiwi C in the women's category, while in the men's category, Moistures A will be joined by Moistures B and the Storms who have qualified to play in the national finals. The qualified team from Mombasa edition will play in the national finals that will be held in the USIU grounds on 27th of May this year. The focus now shifts to the Kisumu edition of the tournament slated for April 29th.
And we come to local football, where the FKF Premier League matches will resume tomorrow with 6 matches on the cards. Defending champions Tusker AFC target to gather maximum points when they face AFC Leopards at the International Stadium, while league leaders Gor Mahia will face Sofapaka at the Mboya International Sports Centre, Kasarani.
The Brewers, who are second on the log, 1 point ahead of third-placed FC Leopards, will meet in an entertaining Premier League match at Nyayo National Stadium. Ingwe has played 21 matches, winning 11 matches and losing 5, while the Brewers have played 20 matches with 11 wins and lost 3. The match will determine whether Tusker will remain in second position on the log. Meanwhile, league leaders Gor Mahia will be eyeing to stretch their win on the log when they take on Sofapaka at the Mboya International Sports Centre, Kasarani. In other matches on card Wednesday, Posta Rangers will take on Kakamega Homeboys, Vihiga Bullets play in Nzoia Sugar, Bandari FC battle Ulinzi Stars, while KCB will be up against City Stars. For Channel 1 Sports, I'm Sela Onyango.
And across our borders, Bruno Saltor takes charge of the Blues for the first time as interim Chelsea boss when they take on Liverpool tonight. Meanwhile, Michael Keane scored a stunning long-range goal in the 90th minute to salvage an English Premier League draw for Everton against Tottenham Hotspur in a game that saw both sides finish with 10 men.
Meanwhile, Bruno Salto takes charge of Blues for the first time as interim Chelsea boss when they take on Liverpool tonight. The Brighton legend has spent his entire coaching career under Graham Potter, but will now take full responsibility for what happened on the pitch following 47-year-old departure on Sunday night. Bruno confirmed in his press conference on Monday that Chelsea's injury outlook was the same as the weekend, meaning he will not be able to choose Thiago Silva, Eduardo Mendy and Cesar Azpilicueta for maiden starting 11. It also leaves the likes of Raheem Sterling and Wesley Fofana in uncertain situation after Potter suggested last week that they could be available to face a Jurgen Klopp side. Luis Diaz and Thiago Alcantara, who have both returned to training after long-time injuries. However, the pair will not be fit in time against Chelsea.
Well, that's the sport for tonight, and we will be back in just a short while and tell you what's lined up next for you on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
Nafasi yako ya kuwa mdosi wako. Jiunge na washindi tufanye biashara. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet.
Well, that's it, and thanks to our sponsors. But tonight, we're going to be bringing you the DFB Pokal. This is the German Cup, and this is the knockout competition in Germany, and they're at the quarterfinal stage. And already one result has been confirmed. It was on our sister station, Y254. Eintracht Frankfurt winning 2-0 against Union Berlin, and it is Frenchman Randall Kolo Muani who scored the 2 goals for Eintracht Frankfurt to through to the semi-finals of the competition. Coming up next is the most successful team in German football. We're talking about Bayern Munich, and they're going to be playing against Freiburg. 9:45 p.m. is the kickoff time. Tom, I know you know stories about German football made in Germany, Bayern Munich.
I know more of German engineering. But hey, listen. What are your expectations, by the way?
Well,
and much.
I always say that when it comes to cup competitions, it's the shocks that happen. You see, for example, over the weekend when we had the Mozart Bet Cup, Gor Mahia were eliminated by Kakamega Homeboys. Let's see if that is going to happen tonight in the DFB Pokal, basically the German Cup. 9:45 p.m. is the kickoff time.
Daniel, Gor was what? Gor Mahia was what? Eliminated?
Eliminated.
Okay.
So that's the whole story. Anyway, it's been a pleasure being with you. 9:45 p.m. Tonight, and tomorrow. Remember, also Red Bull Leipzig against Borussia Dortmund. That's a big one. Tom, can tell them the goodbyes.
So that's about 5 minutes to go. Well, we want to thank you on behalf of the entire Prime Edition team, a very dedicated team in the back end there, people making sure we're grinding well on this live broadcast. I want to thank you on their behalf. And 4 minutes now going before the match kicks off. So from us here in Nairobi, Kenya, good night and God bless you.